Richards' dismissive attitude toward Prince reflects a broader generational divide in music, one where rock traditionalists often clashed with the evolving sounds of newer artists. However, as history has shown, both artists carved out their own unique and lasting legacies, even if they never saw eye to eye. Heavy Metal and Black Sabbath. Keith Richards, Jan Thang, then Chi Treach Black Sabbath, a group widely credited with pioneering heavy metal in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Richards stated that he never liked that sort of music, and went even further by saying that he always thought it was great for comedy. This remark, while lighthearted, highlighted a fundamental divide between his approach to music and the one embraced by heavy metal bands. Richards' distaste for heavy metal is consistent with his lifelong devotion to blues-based rock and roll. As a founding member of the Rolling Stones, he built his career on the sounds of Chuck Berry, Muddy Waters, and Howlin' Wolf, music that emphasized groove, feel, and authenticity. Heavy metal, on the other hand, emerged from a different ethos, characterized by heavily distorted guitars, dramatic lyrics, and an often dark, theatrical presentation. Bands like Black Sabbath took blues influences and pushed them into heavier, more aggressive territory, incorporating themes of doom, darkness, and rebellion in a way that set them apart from traditional rock. One of the key reasons for Richards' dismissal of heavy metal may be his belief that it lacks subtlety. The Rolling Stones, despite their rebellious image, always maintained a strong sense of swing and groove, largely thanks to the influence of Charlie Watts' jazz-inflected drumming and Richards' own signature human riff guitar style.
I'm streaming live.
Heavy metal, in contrast, often features relentless pounding rhythms and a sonic heaviness that Richards likely found excessive or lacking in nuance. Black Sabbath's Tony Iommi pioneered a style of riffing that was deep, sludgy, and almost menacing, far removed from the looser bluesy playing that Richards preferred. Richards' comment about heavy metal being great for comedy suggests that he may have found the genre's darker, more theatrical elements over the top or even self-parodic. Bands like Black Sabbath embraced horror-inspired imagery, occult themes, and an apocalyptic atmosphere that some critics and traditional rockers viewed as gimmicky. While this aesthetic helped define the heavy metal movement and resonated deeply with fans, to someone like Richards, who valued a more organic and unpretentious approach, it may have seemed excessive or even absurd. His views on Black Sabbath and heavy metal in general also fit within a larger pattern of his critiques of rock subgenres that strayed too far from their blues roots. Richards has been similarly dismissive of progressive rock, glam rock, and even certain aspects of psychedelic music, all of which he saw as overly elaborate or detached from what he considered real rock and roll. To him, bands like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, at least in their early years, and other blues-based rock acts represented the core of what rock music should be, whereas heavy metal, with its high decibel sound, dark themes, and larger-than-life presentation, felt like an unnecessary exaggeration. Oasis. Despite Noel and Liam Gallagher frequently expressing their admiration for the Rolling Stones and citing them as a major influence, Richards has remained unimpressed with the band's music and their highly publicized personal drama. One of Richards' main grievances with Oasis seems to be their constant infighting. The Gallagher brothers, Noel, the primary songwriter and lead guitarist, and Liam, the frontman, became notorious for their volatile relationship, which often played out in public through heated arguments, physical altercations, and bitter insults hurled at one another in interviews. While this sibling rivalry added to the band's rock and roll mystique and fueled much of their media coverage, Richards viewed it as unprofessional. Having spent over 6 decades in the Rolling Stones, one of the longest-running and most successful rock bands in history, Richards understood the importance of maintaining internal harmony, even amid personal differences. His ability to work through conflicts, especially with Mick Jagger, contrasted sharply with Oasis's constant turmoil, which ultimately led to the band's breakup in 2009. Beyond their offstage antics, Richards also criticized Oasis's music, suggesting that it was too derivative of the Rolling Stones' sound. Oasis, particularly in their early years, were often compared to both the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, with their swaggering rock anthems, distorted guitars, and rebellious attitude drawing clear parallels. Richards, however, seemed to regard their work as uninspired imitation rather than a fresh or meaningful continuation of rock's legacy. His comment underscores his broader philosophy on music. He has always valued originality and authenticity, and while the Rolling Stones themselves were deeply influenced by American blues, they developed a unique identity that set them apart. In Richards's view, Oasis fell short in this regard, leaning too heavily on their influences without carving out something distinctly their own. Richards's criticism of Oasis also fits into his larger pattern of dismissing bands that he perceives as lacking substance or authenticity. Over the years, he has taken jabs at numerous artists, including Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and even Prince, often ridiculing aspects of their style, musicianship, or persona that he felt were excessive, artificial, or lacking in depth. His comments about Oasis, therefore, align with his long-standing belief that great rock and roll should be raw, organic, and free of unnecessary drama, qualities he felt the Gallagher brothers failed to embody. What do you think about all the hate Keith Richards has for these musicians? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we go back to YouTube's live stream. You see it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. What buffer? Doesn't look like you can change those. That could be changed. Maybe if I change one of these parameters, then you get access to these. But Well, we could begin by saying